I want it, I can't get enough. So share this precious life with me. Just take my hand and let's enjoy the things that we'll see. Let's go to see the stars and the moon. I'd fly far into space as long as I am with you. The light in my bright eyes when you're near. The fluttering I feel in mine just when you are here. I can't explain this kind of love. It pulls me to you, I want it, I can't get enough. So share this precious life with me. Just take my hand and let's enjoy the things that we'll see. Into the sunlight, we'll hide away all of our secrets, away for you in the darkness. There's no stopping us right now. secrets. Away for you in the darkness. There's no stopping us right now. We'll fly away into the sunlight. We'll hide away all of our secrets. Away for you in the darkness. There's no stopping us right now.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Moogie's VALORANT Throwdown, the third one here in 2026, presented by Xfinity, Asus, Republic of Gamers, and Gen G, and with the generous support and help of Riot Games and the UC Davis Cinema and Digital Media Department. We're here bringing you one more semifinal to send one more team on to LAN finals in April. I'm, of course, Takeshi. Joining me is my longtime co-caster, Jake. We're not going to introduce ourselves or our roles. You've seen us this whole year, and you've seen a couple of these two teams here as we take a look at the bracket. Not too much has changed since Thursday, but you will note you are here. We've got Gank Disciples taking on Zeonlo's Minions. We've got a banger on our hands, and Jake, I know you had some stuff you want to talk about with each of these two teams. Go right ahead.
Yeah, all those videos looks by far the cleaner of the two teams, but we have only seen one map from them, so not even a full series. And Gank Disciples, while they do look strong for sure, they do play very unconventionally, and I can't say that the Double Sentinel has really favored them too much. They look really shaky on it. So, I mean, if they change up their comp today, or maybe all those videos just isn't on, the same pace they were in that previous match, yeah, this is going to be one hell of a match to watch.
Well, I'm not sure if our sponsors would appreciate us cursing that on the air, Jake. Let's make sure that we watch our language here. No, I'm just kidding. But we do have a couple of teams who, at the very least, we have some history with here at the event. And we have seen both of these two teams play live on stream. Like you mentioned, Jake, we had Zeonlo's Minions taking a very, very strong 2-0 against Cal Gold. And we just saw Gank Disciples fresh off of that 2-1 victory over Front Trotters. It did take them all three maps, but this group stages top team by ranking points did make it through to the semifinals, and they're looking to defend their title here in April.
Yeah, and like I said, I think Gank Disciples, the main thing going into this match is, are your shooters gonna come in firing, or are they gonna get off to a slow start? I think last week we were kind of looking at specifically Bay Popper to really show up, and he just was a bit slow to start, right? His map 1 kind of non-factor, and it wasn't until split map 3 where he really started showing form. And I think when you're against all those minions who, again, coming off a really dominant just singular map, it is just going to be a very fast-paced match, and so you got to show up.
Absolutely. And speaking of teams that showed up today, if we talk about one of our sponsors, Riot, and the event that just happened earlier today, Masters Santiago, we did in fact see Nongshim being crowned the Masters Santiago 2026 champions. From Ascension to Elation, I believe, was the call that they had on the desk. Some phenomenal stuff there. Watching them throughout this event, I know we had a couple of fans and a couple of supporters in our server back home. Jake, what did you think of what you saw from Nongshim? And is there anything to take away for any of the other teams that made it to, we'll say, top 3, top 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nongshim just has a really good read on not just the meta, but also how to play each of the maps. They are very proactive on defense, and you see a lot of just overall good utility kind of coordination in terms of when someone has a flash, they're going to swing off of it, and whenever they're 3 pushing down mid as to take back space that they just lost, it's always a coordinated effort, and you never really see much individual play other than Dambi, who just kind of is a man on his own. But yeah, I mean, Nongshim definitely, they just looked clean the entire way through the bracket. But it's not to take away from PRX. I think PRX also had a really strong kind of just understanding of how they wanted to play. They definitely look a lot cleaner than previous tournaments. And I think that's due to their new coach. Sorry, Austin was talking about him with me, but I forgot his name. But you can tell PRX like to take it a little bit slower now. They're not just so much like, hey, let's just 5 up and try to get our kills, trade them out. But they look like, hey, we're actually going to play the map now. And, it shows, right? They were able to make it to finals pretty convincingly against NRG of all teams. And NRG, they look strong, definitely, against other teams, but I think they don't have the same kind of, you could say, like post-plant magic that they used to have, right? I think a lot of teams have kind of figured out Brock, or specifically Nongshim and PRX. They've kind of figured out, hey, we're not just going to run it down into an Odin. We're going to kind of play slow, figure out where he is, and play around that. So, Energy has some work to do going into, the next tournament, but hopefully we see them return.
And we also saw G2 have a reasonably strong showing as well before also being ousted by the aforementioned Paper Rex, who I'm sure made plenty of fans over there in Santiago. It felt like there's a pretty big crowd support there, but again, having an impartial crowd, one of the other reasons why I love watching these international events, whenever you have 2 teams that are just from nowhere near where the event is from, it's so sick seeing the crowd come through for teams who that they're not just hometown fans of. Now, don't get me wrong, that isn't to say that we shouldn't have any hometown magic or any hometown heroes in any event. We're thinking, 2018 Boston Major, that sort of thing. The entire crowd on the side of Cloud9 that one time, that was phenomenal stuff. But it is really cool to see people who have absolutely no dog in the fight still coming out every day and giving it their all to make the event what it was.
Yeah, and that just has a lot to do with how PRX has literally been the same team since its conception, basically, right? You have the core of Jing, Devi, and Forsaken still just going strong, right? They never really looked weak in any of these tournaments. Yeah, they didn't make it to finals every single tournament, but showing up consistently and growing a fan base that's ever so popular, I think that's what really counts, and that's why you see such a beloved fandom across the entirety of the world.
And I sure hope that we see that same level of energy from other, from fans, both supporting our hometown teams and also supporting other teams at Picnic Day, at LAN Finals in April. We're heading it right on into map number 1. We've got Haven here for you all, the first of 3 maps in this best of 3 affair. Match 81 of 82. You win this, you go on to LAN. You lose this one, you stay on at home. From here, these two teams, 5 maps are all that separate them from glory and being remembered forever as the 3rd Moogie's VALORANT Throwdown champions.
Yeah, and Gank Disciples hovering a double Sentinel. I was pretty critical of this, and I still am going to be. I think Skyzo on the Chamber, definitely very strong, and we've seen it before, and I want to call back to it. He wasn't the best that we saw, that we know he can perform on. But he is still very dominant. He will mainly be playing C, so we'll see if Zeonlo's minions kind of picks up on that trend. But double Sentinel, I have to question it against what seems to be very consistent Zeonlo's minions. I am curious though if since Zeonlo's minions is starting on defense, Gank Disciples double Sentinel on attack, is it going to be the same caliber as it can be on defense?
And since we're so busy talking about some of the stuff that's been going in and around the greater Valorant area, we didn't have an opportunity to talk about what let them here into this, or what maps are going to be running here in this best of 3. We've got Haven being chosen by Gank Disciples. Corrode is going to be the second map, guaranteed. That's going to be played by, that was picked by Zeonlo's minions. And the decider will, of course, be Abyss. So we've got a very different map pool for you all here today. And we've got some very different compositions here today.
Yeah, and this is going to be a double duelist coming from the side of Zeonlo's minions, and I really like this. Neon, a very strong pick right now in the current meta, and again, it feels like Zeonlo's minions just has a really good read on the meta. They know what they want to do, and if they can really make use of double duelists on this really large map, I can't see a real reason why Gank Disciples can ever really hit a site.
Well, Gank Disciples are going to be starting on that attack side, but if they are actually able to breach the site, they will have an iron hold on it thanks to that double Sentinel that you were highlighting, Jake. I know it's not your favorite class of agents to have, and Gank Disciples have a pair of them, but we'll see if they're able to take this map number 1 as we get underway for Pistol.
Yeah, and right now, I think what Gank Disciples want to do is they want to take as much mid control as possible, really set up their Sentinels for success here. I think we'll see Skyzo probably take a C line, probably TP back if he sees too many people, but overall, they just need information to work with right now. They kind of want to figure out what the defense is looking at, and overall, we'll see how fast Gank Disciples want to play, but I think in the pistol round, we should see a pretty slow start.
Well, you say a slow start, but there's going to be early mid-contact taken there by Iron. He's going to drop back immediately after seeing it. Find a nice pre-fire there onto Vivis, take him down a little bit of health, and tag up Bay Popper. But the rest of the offense isn't going to be queued in just yet as Gank Disciples reset the map.
Yeah, and we have a nice C-hold coming from Zeonlo's minions, and they kind of have an idea of where this attack is coming from. You see the 2 mid players kind of rotating towards Garage here to fill the void. They know no one's really outside B, and they don't have to worry about it too much, but again, Gank Disciples exploring A as the spike is going there right now.
And actually, off of the lack of contact, Zeonlo's minions going to fade away from Garage this time around. Skyzo peering straight through on that B angle, but they've actually left a player on the lurk. Gank Disciples have into Garage. They actually have a decent amount of space, and Zeonlo's minions have drawn a couple of players over towards the A site off of a lack of contact, but Gank Disciples looking to move straight into this A hole.
But it looks like a great hold that you see the mid player kind of lurking towards A right now, and this is a great timing from Jamies. We'll see if he finds one.
It seems like he's going to be caught with his back turned towards Butterfly Rings. He's going to find the first dink. The Nanoswarm's not going to find anything more, and if he isn't careful about this flank, from Relita.
Spike down.
See if he finds
A.
it. Knife out, and it is going to find James. As Hippo gets taken down across the map. Bay Popper's good for one, and Bibis trades it back, so it is a 3-on-3 across the map, but Dark Lord's shock darts ringing in true. Bay Popper going to swing straight through the smoke, get the tags down onto Dark Lord. That Bandit is making quick work of the Sova. And so Butterfly Rings going to be peeking out early onto Skyzo. Good for it with the Headhunter. That's the damage that you need coming through from that high pen weapon, and Relita's not able to get it done, so Skyzo getting on the board early, as do Gank Disciples 1-0.
Yeah, and I really like this from Gank Disciples. JB's has a really good timing, and yes, he does go down, but he creates kind of enough attention where he's able to pull Relita, he's able to stall Relita and also the opposing chamber. So it's really well done, and this is how Gank Disciples should be playing, and this is how they're going to want to play moving forward, right? You set up a Sentinel, you get them deep in the garage, you get them deep in onto a line, and you kind of just work the rest of the map, right? And so while they are on the faster buy, again, just play it slow. I don't want to see them just straight onto a stack that all those minions probably wants to set up here.
The Butterfly Rings is going to appear straight into Skyzo's off, or sorry, the Outlaw, functioning basically the same as the off. Iron going to retake the line and find Skyzo to equalize. Has the opportunity to take down another one, only gets the tag onto Bibis, and another tag onto James as he gets pinned into backside. Johnson here in support with the Yoru. They've got 3 players here on those minions. Gank Disciples are going to look to back away here, but damage has been done both ways.
And if they go towards A, this is going to be an annoying line to clear out, but we actually see the Sova walking up, and the bot's down, so we'll see if they're aware of it.
It sure feels like it, and Yoru's up into that close position for Zeonlo's minions. Dark Lord has cleared out so much space on A. He has the first one onto Hippo, unaware that he could be up at that line, and James might peek straight into it. The damage not going to come through, though, but Yoru will trade it right back for ZM, securing that man advantage. They've got a 3-on-2 here, and Bibis has prepped the dash already. The hit's going to be a lot less dynamic. They have to make their way somewhere else quickly.
And they are walking, so again, we see Zala's is kind of hustling towards A, but it will be a B end, so they do have the space, but with the numbers, and also I feel like they have a good kind of position right now. You see it's a pinch coming through onto B right now, so as soon as this bomb goes down, we'll see how fast they want to flood, but I imagine they'll just wait and try to trade out numbers.
Spike planted.
And that's what you should do here, right? Iron is on 1 HP, and he does have the Marshal. Not really good for these close encounters, and Bibis is going to appear around the front of the site, peek straight into it, and find the shot anyway with that Outlaw, that pocket off on this round 2. A bit of a glitch here. Bay Popper isolated into the 1-on-2. Relita's going to throw down the flash, but it's going to cue in Johnson to take the first contact. He taps on the spike, but he's not going to hold it. He's going to move carefully, creeping around the site, as Bay Popper's good for the second one there, so preventing that round 2 from sliding by the wayside. Bay Popper secures it for Gank Disciples.
Yeah, and for both teams, I don't think you're ever complaining at the result, right? Gank Disciples gets around, but Zeonlo's minions gets a lot of kills, and that will be very costly. We'll have to see what Gank Disciples chooses to buy going into this next round, but I want to call attention to Bay Popper. Again, I was talking about, is he going to get going? Can he just really start taking over rounds? And this is exactly what you want to see. 4-0 start for him. And he's on the Clove. A really good just kind of solo queue pick. But overall, if you want to play kind of scrappy, kind of just your own style, Clove is a great agent to do so.
And this is kind of the last hurrah for that agent as well, right? Before those nerfs come on through. Bibis is getting taken down, but that's only going to equalize because across the map, A Long was taken down as well. So this line from Butterfly Rings becomes all the more important. Having this mid control sets the tone for the rest of the round. And they've brought over support. The Neon playing close corner with that shotgun. James looking to break this utility and get the rest of his team onto the site. There's going to be no players home on B. Butterfly Rings is the first point of contact. These smokes are lasting long enough, though, so Bay Popper will be able to get that spike down. This drone through the smoke is going to spot the chamber, but he's going to be able to drop back. And Iron's not in a great position because he has that close range weapon, but Johnson going to find a pair of them. Bay Popper rezzing out into the open. He has to go into backside, but Butterfly Rings and Dark Lord are cleaning it up nicely. So Zeonlo's minions from a 4-on-4 to a 4-0 here. They're going to pick up their first gun round.
Yeah, so after the judge kill on Log, I feel like Gank Disciples are a little too afraid to go into Garage. Again, fearing that the Neon with the judge will be there. So with no Garage control and then you go B, it's really just hard to hold as, again, as soon as the smokes from Clove, which don't last very long, go down, you are just, you're basically just, you become a shooting range for the enemy team. And that's exactly what we see. So Gank Disciples moving forward in these rounds, if they want to end B, we'll probably see more emphasis being put on the Garage or potentially pushing out. And if you don't, Zeonlo's minions will just have a free round to take.
but Gank Disciples have had a pretty good go of it so far with this double Sentinel composition, something you feel like has to be stronger on the defensive side. Iron not going to be ready for it on the defensive side of his own. Bibis is going to take him down, so that's a bit of a duelist gap right there. 5-on-4 for Gank Disciples. They're making a ton of noise, but they have not actually sped up towards the A site. They're going to allow James a lot more room to work the map, but Zeonlo's minions going to respond by playing passive themselves.
Yeah, and James doesn't even have to take as much space right now, right? Because he's done so much in the earlier rounds. Again, Zeonlo's minions has to respect that. You see them split up right now, kind of literally one on each kind of point of contention on the map, right? And Butterfly Wings will take the one, but it's not going to result in much here. Again, we're going to see Gank Disciples slowly take over mid. You see the drone being invested into Garage, and now Zeonlo's minions has to respect the C hit, even though Relina's pushed deep very far on the C though.
Yeah, it could have been a straight take through Garage because the utility was actually broken, and Dark Lord's utility is only going to spot the one. He doesn't necessarily know that the entirety of Gank Disciples are laying just on the other side of short box here. The smokes come through, and the jump from Bibis should signal that the whole team is here. He finds the first one onto Dark Lord, but the swing through the smoke is contained. He's going to go well and above beyond what he needed there. He's got a pair. Hippo up on that first line. Sorry, Skyzo on that first line as Hippo gets the spike down. 3-on-3 situation. No ults to be spoken of just yet, but Skyzo's in a power position here on the chamber. He can't blink out of the position, though. He has to hold it. These shock darts are doing nice damage to Zeonlo's minions as they trickle out here. Butterfly rings down to 1 bullet. Skyzo can't get it done just yet. He gets wall banged through. James is good for the first. Hippo finds the second. It's all up to the chamber. Butterfly rings must clutch, and he can't get it done. Hippo up on the board, 3 of his own, puts Gank Disciples up to 3 on the map.
Yeah, Dark Lord almost just pulls the round by himself, able to get fight 2, but it's a really well called round from Gank Disciples. They find the opener, work the map, and force Zeonlo's minions to kind of have to respect where they're coming from, but with no information to go off of, they're able to just group up A and trade out. So even though Dark Lord does do a nice job at holding them back, he's not able to find enough to kind of get a man advantage, and you end up with a 3-on-3 site retake. So again, this is how Gank Disciples wants to play. We'll see if Zeonlo's minions kind of makes an adaptation in terms of playing a little bit more aggressive and trying to figure out information, but it doesn't seem like they are. Again, just they have someone posted on A and they're just playing very passive.
Importantly, that shock dart lineup from Hippo was unable to break the chamber trip at the opening of B, and Skyzo has provided them an opening towards C site. Should they choose to accept it? No, they're going to continue to play patient. Force Zeonlo's minions to overextend to get that information. Iron's going to be droned out, which is going to allow Hippo more room to work up with the rest of the squad. Skyzo has created so much pressure over towards the C site. It's, again, the potential for a 4-on-1 hit towards the undermanned A site.
Yeah, and it's a great smoke from the side of Gank Disciples. You'd have to assume they're able to just take this A long space, and as soon as that smoke goes down, they're going to see them kind of work up. I think they suspect that they might have an AWP, and that's why the smoke came down. So we'll see if they're ready for this neon push out, though.
Well, Iron does find the first anyway, and Bibis was unable to clear the first one. Leg shot comes through, but the headshot is even better from the Jet, so Gank Disciples retaining that man advantage. But the spike has been rerouted over towards the C site. This fake coming through from Gank Disciples has been played to perfection. They're going to find their way to an undefended C site, and they have 2 players who could cut off rotates if they felt like it. Yeah,
and this is another great call from Gank Disciples, who I imagine is probably just relying off of Skyzo's kind of calling there. As soon as he hears the rotates going straight to A, he just calls the rest of his team saying, hey, it's an open C site. And so, yeah, they find the opper, but they think it's a little bit too slow, and they make the great call to just go C.
And this position by James is going to be crucial as the 3-man flood comes in from CT. You have to be sure that you don't get split on here. You have good utility to make sure that your back is going to be cleared, and Bibis is going to hold as well. So the 3-man flood comes out. Johnson finds the first one. That's an important kill for ZM as they look to play off the rest of their team. The smoke on the spike, and there's no players on site, but that Hunter's Fury is good for the first, and so is Bibis as the AWP rings out. Killer Johnson going to find another one as Hippo takes down Butterfly rings with that Hunter's Fury. Swings straight into the smoke by James, and the shaking of the head is not going to dissuade the headshot coming through. Gank Disciples up to 4. Nice calling so far.
Yeah, and again, Zeonlo's minion is just making it very close, though, making it very competitive. Only one person is able to live on the side of Gank Disciples, so again, making it costly, even though they are pulling ahead of these rounds. So I want to comment on one thing Zeonlo's minions should probably try to do, though, and again, it's just be a little bit more aggressive. We'll see if they kind of try to push down mid as 3, but again, it just seems like they're content on staying split up, and that's just not how you deal with this kind of slow play from Gank Disciples. You see them just Gank Disciples slowly accruing information, slowly accruing max saves. But again, oh, here it is, Iron Me just going straight at it.
Well, actually, despite that overdrive, he hasn't actually found too much out of it, and so that whole laser is going to be burned out by Gank Disciples' passivity. This double Sentinel hold allows Gank Disciples so much room on the map, right? Yes, they're contained to their side, and Zeonlo's minions have pushed up to secure all of the room they could possibly ask for, but Gank Disciples know all the angles that they can possibly be holding, right? When you have this passive Sentinel utility, it allows the rest of your team to work as a unit off of just that passive info.
Yeah, and all of the space that Zeonlo's been just really invested into with the Neon ult and the Sova has immediately just been dissolved with a singular drone, and that's exactly what the strength of this Gank Disciples comp can do.
Well, Johnson's going to find the first one, and they're going to ring out for a pair more of butterfly rings, and Johnson making this eco look devastating. James is good for the first one, and he is able to control the damage. Going to invest that Clove Res as Iron runs out of there, but he's getting wall banged into that corner, and Relida puts him in the dirt. So it's up to Skyzo in the 1-on-4, and he can't even get the first. Johnson with 3 off of just the dig and Zeonlo's minions. That's a huge
My quiver is never full.
A really good call from Zeonlo's, actually. I feel like as soon as the drone came out A, I kind of expected Gank Disciples to kind of follow up on it and take back the A space since the drone pushed them back, but instead they kind of opted to B, but Zeonlo's minions is ready for that. The Neon already there to support the rest of the team, and they just find the shots and again convert a really good eco round.
A necessary round, right? You want to make sure that you can keep pace here, and this is the map that Gank Disciples had chosen. This is the side that Zeonlo's minions had chosen, so you need to get off to a good start on the half that you're picking. Otherwise, the side select a little bit ill-advised, as the rest of Gank Disciples are going to make their way up towards B for a faster hit this time. Bibis isn't ready for Johnson's angle, and he goes above and beyond. He finds 2, he finds 3, taking down James, and he might have the 4th. Hippo slows it down, but Dark Lord finds a double off of that Hunter's Fury. Same kill collateral there, and Zeonlo's closing the gap after just that one round.
And I want to comment on the fast push that came from A short there. Again, it's just a really well-timed round. I think it's actually on both sides, right? Gank Disciples, understanding that Zeonlo's minions might want to play a little bit quicker in response to their slow pace, decides, let's just go quick on B. But Zeonlo's minions also just really fast on A, and the flank comes through, even though, again, Dark Lord finds a great ult there. The flank was going to be devastating on the side of Zeonlo's minions.
Well, let's see if Gank Disciples can weave some eco magic of their own. We saw the deagles and the damage that those sheriffs could do in the previous round, but Skyzo taking that damage early, queuing up butterfly rings for this early peek, and he has the blink back so that the first shot, if he isn't able to hit it, Gank Disciples is going to make their way straight through that garage angle. They've thrown the smoke, but butterfly rings is out past it. Bibis has to take the first contact. He goes down to butterfly rings, as does Hippo. So this garage push has been well contained. Everyone from Zeonlo's minions are over here. Relida finds another pair, but James would have to do something magical. He's got 2 off of the deagle, but he's going to be stunned down by that relay bolt. He swings back into the open, and Johnson's got him covered, so we're all tied up here at 4-piece.
So, Gank Disciples now on the kind of response part of this match, right? Now they've lost 3 straight, if I'm not mistaken. And so, again, I think they want to go back to this kind of slower form of play, right? Where you take early garage control, you take early mid control, and work the rest of the map. And Zeonlo's minions kind of understands that, hey, since we've been going a little bit faster, let's go a little bit slower this time. And you see the default coming through where they just split across the map and they kind of respond to what Gank Disciples wants to do, right? And you see as soon as the push comes through, there is a nice flood coming from the side of all those minions, and they take care of the eco buy.
So it felt like the tactical edge was in the favor of Gank Disciples, but that headshot and shock dart combination is going to equalize things both ways. The spike was down to over on A site, and that is importantly the clove going down, so the smokes will only be able to go through on A for Gank Disciples. Wherever else they go, it has to be a straight take. Nice break on the utility by Hippo, but it hasn't forced any other rotations here, and Gank Disciples going to regroup towards the only position that Clove can smoke.
And it's not even really great smokes. You notice the smoke can't reach heaven, and it can't really reach the CT line. So this is actually going to be a site take without smokes, and we'll see how they deal with Relida.
Well, this angle of approach is going to be everything. Skyzer's going to swing wide. He's going to be met with lead. The double up from Zeonlo's minions and the double kill from Relida. Bibis isolated and taken down as well. Dark Lord making it 3 on the round. And Zeonlo's minions from 4-1 down. They're up 5-4 now.
Yeah, and again, it has a lot to do with how Gank Disciples are really addressing it. The drone comes through on Garage, but it doesn't pull anyone. Zala's Minions has seen this before, and Gank Disciples really needs to change up their approach. Again, I like the slower play. I like how they took over Garage, but when you're not really finding any information, you really need to pull back and readdress, hey, what is Zala's Minions trying to do in this match? So again, they're going back to the default, but there's one crucial difference. Relida is playing on A and the Neon is playing on C. So we'll see how well Gank Disciples can do here.
Well, they've made it clear that taking over this A space now is the name of the game, and preventing Zeonlo's minions from trickling out one by one and getting ever more opportunities or ever more space here. They might get flanked through here by Relida, but not before Bibis finds the first one onto Dark Lord. Relida finds it onto Baypopper, and he's ready for the reswing of James. Excellent work to TP back out after you've done the damage. The spike is down. Bibis has to pick up the pieces. He finds a rifle for his troubles. But the rest of Gank Disciples grouping up around A. Zeonlo's minions have already anticipated this. They've moved 2 players over towards this A site, and they have information on the rest of the map, albeit a little bit more passively.
But Gank Disciples this round does not have any information going towards B or C here, so they have to kind of re-clear it on their own. And the smokes are A, so there's not going to be any smokes for this retake, or sorry, for this site take. And so you see Zeonlo's minions kind of grouping up towards mid, and they're just going to play fast rotate to wherever the first side of Gank Disciples is.
Actually really liked the idea there, having 3 players positioned towards B to make sure there's no opportunity for this quick hit. And you see that smoke being placed mid, the opportunity or the idea of a lurk there, a bit of a smoke around the corner, but the teleport for Relida is going to be towards C-side. Butterfly Rings has the first, and he's ready for Hippo's reswing, but Hippo gets the better of him somehow with that stinger at long range. So the spike will go down. We've got a round of this one now. Gank Disciples and the man disadvantage. Hippo trying to get a little bit more advanced information. The Recon Bolt will go down. Shock's going to be invested as well. Skyzo looking for the opener. Finds the first one onto Johnson somehow, so he equalizes it. But now you're forced into a difficult situation. Iron is going to be accelerating straight through. Pedal to the metal right now. Skyzo holding for the first one. Swing coming through.
Nice
There's a flank. Nicely done by Hippo. Skyzo going to trade evenly, and he is going to be swung out and taken down by Relida. Excellent work there by the Yoru. So much damage coming through. And 6 secured now for Zeonlo's minions.
So 3 on the Gank Disciples, so we'll see how they can string together these last 2 rounds with those ults. But again, a nice call from Zeonlo's minions there. They just kind of deal with the A pressure and immediately just say, all right, we're just going to group up and make sure that whatever site take happens, we're just able to trade out. And this is some nice, that's a great, just a great shot from Relida there to secure the rounds. So we'll see if Gank Disciples try to go a little bit quicker here. Now that they have the Killjoy ult online, they'll probably just try to get a player into short and pop it.
That was actually a brutal round there from Hippo. The rewrap was excellent, and maybe it's like he didn't take enough time to get the shot lined up. But Zeonlo's minions all too happy to get a couple of shots strung together here. Gank Disciples swinging in the open, getting taken down by that operator on first contact. And Relida's got one as well. Baypopper trying to equalize things, but there's so much damage coming through from these long players. Dark Lord is so prepared for everything that Gank Disciples are throwing at him. Baypopper's made his way onto site. He's ready for Dark Lord. Gets the heal down. You're in a 1-on-3 situation, and you know that there can be players on your flank. Playing this patiently. He's got the entire site to work with. He has the whole map to work with, as a matter of fact, waiting for these smokes to come back, but Zeonlo's minions playing it so patiently, making sure that nobody goes too early. No one is going before the rest of the team can be there to commit. The smoke's going to come through for Baypopper. He chooses to stick it down on A. The Dimensional Drift is going to be invested here by Zeonlo's minions, pinpointing exactly where Baypopper can be. The first shot is good from Johnson, and Zeonlo's minions have taken this lead back 6 rounds in a row for them.
I want to quickly comment really quickly on what Zeonlo's minions did really well there. Again, you said it during the round, right? It's a 1-on-3 mission, but no one goes for the individual play. They just wait for the bomb to get down. And instead of waiting for a better ultimate, Relida just uses it and secures the round. And yes, there's only going to be 1 more round, but that's exactly why he does it, right? You know that there's not going to be probably a better chance in this next round, or the odds of it happening are very low. So he said, hey, let's just get this round on the board and go up 7-4.
And for Gank Disciples, as they gear up for another mid play, it is a shame that after starting up 4-1, you let 6 slip away from you. Zeonlo's minions taking control in this opening half, but also for this defender-sided composition on this map in particular, with this double sentinels, they're making me hold my mouth and hold my breath right now. Johnson taking a pair down, Relida getting one as well. James is going to be able to take one, and so will Baypopper. Hippo's Hunter's Fury not finding too much more value. Held for is held for is Johnson by Baypopper, but the Clove Diff goes the other direction this time around here. Zeonlo's minions on another 4-on-2 man advantage. It's up to Skyzo and Hippo to claw this one back. I was saying, it's unfortunate that Gank Disciples, starting up 4-1, have let this one go down to what looks like a surefire 4-8 in this case. But getting 4 rounds with this CT-sided composition could be good stuff for them. Hunter's Fury is going to be invested a little bit for fun there. They get the information. Hippo's not necessarily going to be tagged by it. The Hunter's Fury going well ahead of schedule. Hippo's got an opportunity in another 1-on-3 situation. Can he do what Baypopper couldn't? The spike in this case going to be planted in the polar opposite direction. It's going to be planted for long. And Hippo still has so much information to work with. Breaks the shock dart, or the sonic dart, sorry. Recon information not going to go his way. He's found the first, but he isn't ready for the second one. He found the wallbang damage, but he wasn't able to clean up the kill. That's 7 rounds in a row for Zeonlo's minions, 8-4 at the half.
Zeonlo's minions finally decides, hey, let's walk down B and get some kills there, and it works out beautifully for them. Gank Disciples unable to really push off this mid-aggression as they don't have any great forms of flash or any utility that can really help them be aggressive. So as soon as this push comes through, you just see it just turns into a firing range for Zeonlo's minions.
That's a brutal kill there. Johnson onto Baypopper, Clove on Clove warfare right there. The wraparound from Butterfly Rings was nice as well, and we talked about not on Thursday's match, but in our previous quarterfinal that we watched, where we had Gank Disciples taking on Front Shotters, we talked about the tenacity that they showed. Whatever punch Front Shotters threw at them, Gank Disciples were right there to answer. Well, right now, Zeonlo's minions are landing hit after hit on Gank Disciples, and it feels like, as we move over here onto this defensive side, the side change could not have come at a better time.
And what we're going to see from Zeonlo's base is probably taking a lot of A space. Again, this A short line is going to be very hard to hold, especially since there's not going to be very many Sentinel utility there. And you see, again, Zeonlo's minions takes the A short line and they just going to pose and ready for a 5-up site take here. And it's going to come through quick as soon as they feel the ready for it. And I imagine they might even wait for another smoke to go through so they can just take this with 2 smokes. But there's just so much space and not a lot from the side of Gank Disciples.
They're pinned into backside. Bibis is going to be the first contact. He lands a couple of shots, but Iron's going to make his way out on site. Nice job as the Sheriff rings out, but Relita's got the first one, and he has to get out of the way, Bibis does, before that relay bolt actually sends him to his grave. We've got a 4-on-4 retake now as Gank Disciples regroup towards CT. The Flood Smoke is ready, but it's actually just being held so well by Zeonlo's minions. There's no information from a scan initiator this time. You're going to throw a Flood Smoke that's going to allow you to get out of this choke, but Iron is ready for the first one. He gets taken down by Skyzo, and James and Skyzo combining for a pair of kills apiece. Butterfly Rings is good for the 2. Skyzo, Chamber Duel, he goes down to the head hunter. Butterfly Rings cleaning up all 3 remaining players. A 1v3 clutch, doing what Gank Disciples couldn't in the previous 2 rounds. But Zeonlo's minion on their 9th and in firm control of map number 1.
A nice clutch there from Butterfly Wings, secures the round, but Gank Disciples has a really good site retake there. Kind of a bit surprising. I didn't think they would have really the utility to get through, but they end up just lining up the shots. And maybe that's just because it's a pistol round. Maybe if you have rifles, it goes the other way. But that's what you kind of want to see from Gank Disciples. This site retaking shouldn't be their strength, but if they're able to just make it happen, again, this could be a very close match still, despite the score.
Sure could. This force up from Gank Disciples needs to be converted, though. Otherwise, the rest of this map is as good as gone. This guy's so spotted out on that initial angle. He's not going to find any more man advantages this time around unless he goes digging super deep. Finds the first shot onto Johnson, and the outlaw shot going his opposite direction isn't traded back this time. Relay Bolt's going to go super wide, as does the flash. He is going to have time to reposition, but this judge comes in so fast, Baypopper isn't ready for it either, and so James is going to swing out through the smoke, trying to make a hero play, but he gets put down early. Hippo going to be contained in the CT smoke. Iron having a great idea of what's going on. A quad kill for the Neon. And Zeonlo's minions up to double digits. Gank Disciples unable to convert the force buy. They are in dire straits here on their map pick.
So yes, while it is double Sentinel, again, you just see Zeonlo's minions understands they don't have to really respect the Sentinel utility. As soon as they just get onto site, again, it's just a fast flood that comes through, and there's just not enough Gank Disciples can do to really protect their Sentinel players. And so again, it's just a 5-up site take, and it's gonna go the way of Zeonlo's minions unless Gank Disciples decides to stack a site, or perhaps just be a little bit more aggressive and maybe find out where this hit's coming from so you can position players and get them into spaces where you know they can do some damage.
The Gank Disciples Getting run off the angle. Again, Iron finding so much value with this judge. We saw so much Neon, so much shotgunning at VCT, at Masters. Johnson, Relida getting a pair more kills. Skyzo able to get the first one, but not able to get the second one as Relida and Dark Lord clean it up. Zeonlo's minions 2 rounds away from taking map number 1.
Yeah, and a lot of this has to do with just that Yoru flash. You're able to flash the person off the line, and then Neon is able to quickly follow up and get into close range with the shotgun, where it can be so devastating, especially when you're coming from attack. Not really something you see very much outside of VCT, but Zeonlo's minions really making use of it well here. And they're just going to, again, take as much control as they can on the early part of the round, simmer down, maybe wait for the round to cool a little bit before they just take this A site.
Right here.
And Gank Disciples with everything to prove here. Yes, you have 4 former Throwdown champions, but got a bit of a... Oh, never mind. We're right back into the action, and production just wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to be just as surprised as Gank Disciples are by this A aggression. This drone is going to force out a short. Baypopper's good for the first. Traded back by Johnson on the edge of the smoke. Kippo's got the contain. Relida finds another kill onto Vivis. Dark Lord, Baypopper, Johnson. All the trades going every which way. Skyzo left to pick up the pieces. 1-on-2 situation. He has the operator in this retake. In his closer score line, they would think a little better of it, but he's forced into the clutch here. Relida going to swing and deliver the headshot straight to Skyzo. They've got 8 opportunities on those minions to take map number 1. 12 for the score line after starting down 1-4. They've rattled off every single round.
Yeah, there's just not much Gank Disciples can do. You see, they have the right idea where they just kind of fast push down B, but again, it's just too quick from Zeonlo's minions, and they realize, hey, even though we're pushing down mid, we just gotta rotate and help our player. So they, again, fast rotate to A, but that's exactly what Zeonlo's minions wants you to do, right? They want you on the site where they could get up close and personal with the judge, with all of this kind of just fast flood utility. And so the smoke comes down long, and Gank Disciples have to guess whether they're doing that. So they have 2 players mid, but again, it's just too quick for all those minions.
And the player swap coming through Vivis, the replacement in this case for Koister. That's the difference between the quarterfinals matchup, or sorry, the quarterfinals lineup that Gank Disciples had fielded here. He's got to start going big on this duelist spot. Skyzo, got to start landing some damage. He does onto Johnson, but eventually Relida gets the trade down. Baypopper's into backside, but this overdrive is too much for him to contain, and the Iron gets a pair more. Butterfly Rings finds the damage, and it's all up to James. He's got a Spectre and a Dream. He's able to get the first one onto that overdrive. Hunter's Fury's coming through on CT. Johnson burned out there, but Relida's good for the kill. 13-4. Absolute domination by Zeonlo's minions in map number 1.
And it's just too much to deal with for the side of Gank Disciples. All those minions playing with such a pace on that attacking half. And yes, you have double sentinel on defense. It sounds like a dream for you, but you're just too passive on the map. And when you're playing as 5 strong everywhere you go, you're able to just trade out past the sentinel utility that, again, it should stop you, but you don't have to respect it if you're willing to trade 1 for 1. And so all those minions does a great job at kind of addressing that weakness.
And we talked about in last week's quarterfinals matchup from Gank Disciples versus Front Trotters, we had players on both sides when you were on defense being proactive, right? Not just relying on the utility for the information, but also going out and clearing a little bit more on your own independently, then getting back safely, whether it was Skyzo on his chamber, right? Or whether it was, I believe Front Trotters was running a Yoru in opposition to them. There were ways to gather the information beyond just the lines that the utility can hold. And like you were talking about, Jake, the information difference, a bit of what spelled the end for Gank Disciples here in map number 1. And moving on to map number 2, they've got some pretty serious adjustments to make here, Jake. What do you need to see from Gank Disciples to make this a 3-map series and give them the opportunity to defend their title?
So moving on to Corrode, again, I want to see kind of a lot of emphasis being put on mid. If Zeonlo's minions wants to play the faster kind of, we're just going to sight take in your face and until you prove to us that you can stop us, we're just going to keep doing it. So the way you kind of counter that is you got to take care of mid. You got to make sure that, hey, if they're going to play fast, we can also fast rotate through mid, and securing that is going to be very important for Gank Disciples. So we'll see how much emphasis they really put on that, as well as maybe we just try to read. Maybe we just play a stack on a site and say, hey, you've been hitting the site a couple times. Maybe we're just going to site take, or maybe we're just going to plant a, judge in a quarter and say, hey, if you hit us, we got something for you guys.
Excellent stuff. And for Zeonlo's, what do you have any advice for them? I mean, they dominated once they actually figured out what Gank Disciples was throwing. It felt like all of their players in form right now, hitting shots. What comments do you have, Jake?
I got none. Just keep doing what you've been doing. They've looked amazing these past 2 maps that we've seen them play, and honestly, I can't wait to see more.
Excellent. Well, everyone, unfortunately, we are going to have to wait just a little bit. We're going to send it to a short break, but when we get back, we'll see if Zeonlo's minions can push themselves across the finish line here. Map number 2 of Corrode starts as soon as we get back. Don't go anywhere.
Helium Malanin showing beautiful control. She's clearly a crowd favorite.
The most reliable Wi-Fi at one price for 5 years. Guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Player standing. One enemy remaining.
My ult's ready.
Gotcha, son. My turn. Refreshing.
On target. Stay down.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
past, this is a legacy. Oh, we'll be running away at the speed of light. It's like a force, but it's taking over me. Taking over. Taking still in your emerald technology. Razor sharp and luminous. Can't say that I'm not ambitious. And then a surge of adrenaline with another pounding heart. We'll be running, out of sight into the night.
Welcome back from that short break, and hopefully both of our two teams haven't cooled down. I suppose in Zeonlo's minions case, they need to make sure that they haven't cooled down as they move on to Corrode. They were white hot on the opening map of Haven, and both of our two teams are just about ready to get into game number 2. And Jake, I know at the beginning, right before that break, we didn't really have too much to talk about. I think we should just head right on in. We should just help our fans out here and just get straight into map number 2.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well. But maybe if you're the side of Gank Disciples, maybe you do want a bit of a pause, maybe cool off all those minions. But here we go, right into Agent Select. So all those minions, we have seen them on this map, and it has been the double controller with the singular jet, or the singular duelist in the jet, as well as alongside a Fade and a Chamber. And so we'll see if they kind of run back that comp. On the side of Gank Disciples, though, we're just probably going to see another form of double sentinel, I'd imagine. Perhaps, again, they just change it up as they are kind of down, but instead we are going to see double duelists, and we see Waylay and Neon being hovered, and I really like this with all his minions.
And the Gank Disciples composition, again, shades of last game. You see the Vice going to be the switch up here for James. Skyzer reprising his role on that chamber. Hippo going to be moving from Sova over towards Fade. Baypopper and Bibis also repeating their roles from the last map. And on those minions, I know you were talking about, hey, they're shooting the lights out. They're in all the right spots. They're playing so disciplined against Gank Disciples. This composition really hasn't been changed so much. It's just going to be the Neon and, the Waylay in place of the Neon, and the ISO here in place of the Yoru, most likely. What do you think of the composition, Jake?
I can't help but wonder if this ISO is kind of a response into almost showing double sentinel every single time. You kind of see them playing around with the idea of maybe we go Neon, maybe we go ISO, but I would actually enjoy seeing the ISO here. It's really devastating into Sentinels, which you know will be here for the side of Gank Disciples. So again, Neon also just a stock standard pick. I think both these characters are really strong right now, especially against what the Gank Disciples are showing. But we end up seeing Neon in the end, and again, I just can't help but feeling like it's another draft diff going into this first match. Though, what's going to end up happening is, or what's going to end up mattering more is just the gunshots.
Absolutely. The precise gunplay coming through from both of these two teams going to make all the difference here. Gank Disciples had their map pick stolen away by Zeonlo's minions, 13-4 for those of you just tuning in. We are here on map number 2. We're here on Corrode. Here's what's at stake, guys, in match number 81. If Gank Disciples are able to take this map away, they will force their way onto Abyss, which will be the decider, and they were the higher-ranked point-earning team in this case. They had side select if they can make it to that decider, but Zeonlo's minions a win here. It's a quick 2-0, nothing to see here, folks. They will be moving on to LAN Finals. We've got a 4-1 split here for Gank Disciples to kick things off, but this double movement duelist here from ZM is going to get all their players in the right positions.
Yeah, and so we do see kind of a 3-man kind of core moving through for Gank Disciples, and I feel like we're going to see a fight here.
Well, Butterfly Rings is going to blink out first, and Iron's going to find the opener. So that's the double untradeable utility there from ZM, paying dividends early. A lot of damage going through onto the B defenders, and Bibis is going to serve Dark Lord with a headshot there. So good to see him getting into a little bit better form. He was struggling a little bit on map number 1, but they've inserted James over onto A. And Relida might get caught as he trips that wall. James is up into an advanced position, but he loses the gunfight anyway. That's brutal there for Gank Disciples. They've lost the rest of the map. Bibis is going to find a ton more damage there onto Johnson. Into the 3-on-3 here on this side of the map. They have to continue baiting unless Relida can find some more. Butterfly Ring's good for the first one. Baypopper gets the trade. It is a little bit delayed, but it's going to allow them a little bit of room to work out off the site. Baypopper's going to get wrapped on and taken down by Johnson. He's swinging out into the open. Bibis is going to get traded back by Iron, so the gunfights go in the way of Zeonlo's again, continuing their unbroken streak from map number 1.
Yeah, and Relida playing really aggressive on A. Again, James has the chance to take him out, but unable to find the shots to do so. But that's how Zeonlo's minions are going to want to play here. They're just going to have Relida kind of playing almost like a decoy on A. They're going to be really annoying to deal with until they kind of run back into the elbow line, or perhaps even this kind of open A main space. But I think Gank Disciples has their work cut out for them. They need to put more emphasis on mid, really cut off rotations if they want to play through kind of like the slow, kind of playing slow on these sides. But again, when you're able to just play 3 up mid, and that's exactly what we see here, it's going to be hard.
Iron going straight through onto James, unprepared for the duelist to be running out so aggressively again. Even though the saturate didn't actually find its mark, Relida's relay bolt might. Fast lane straight down the mid lane as Relida is able to find another one on the judge, and the verdict so far is looking like an early exit for Gank Disciples. He finds another one. Dark Lord's good for the trade. Baypopper is going to be taken down by that Bucky as well, so these close range weapons for Zeonlo is putting out tons of damage against Gank Disciples.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of the map we saw previously with Zeonlo's minions on Corrode. They like to put a lot of emphasis on mid, especially playing very aggressive, and now they're playing with Neon, another character who's just really good at getting up on the angles faster than people can really anticipate. So we'll see how Gank Disciples really wants to perhaps push back this mid hold or use some sentinel utility to kind of dissuade it. But again, it just seems like they don't have a great read on how Zeonlo's minions wants to play this map.
Gank Disciples going to go back to what got them a little bit closer there on Pistol. They're going to set someone up on that early B line. And this is a map that we've seen a fair bit of Gank Disciples on, a map that feels like their players should be pretty confident and well practiced on. The trade's coming through for the sites in this case, right? They're going to have Iron and Relida both taking over A side. They're going to get some more information on mid, but Gank Disciples are playing it so passively. It is kind of what got them to where they were in the first map, but Johnson sends James to where he was at the beginning of the round. Going to reswing back on this Outlaw. See if he can take down Hippo. He's ready for it with that Phantom headshot. Nice kill by Bibis as well, but there's 2 more players tucked into this angle. And Relida might swing out first and bait for his teammate. He's going to show the escape. They might not expect another player there. All the attention is coming through against Butterfly Rings. He's not going to be able to get either of the 2 players if they're able to split that angle. Iron's going to throw in that saturate and find the first one onto Bibis. Hippo not able to provide that cover. Into the 3-on-2. So on those minions, the duelists remaining here. Baypopper going to get the spike down as Relida is going to be contained by Hippo. A 3rd headshot coming through from the initiator of Gank Disciples. They need this round. This is a very similar way to get this thing started, the same way that Zeonlo's minions were able to establish their unbroken run. Yes, they started down 1-4. Gank Disciples looking to write a similar piece here on map number 2. Iron's free fire not going to find its mark. They're playing so patiently. That Haunt is going to give tremendous information to Skyzo, who's just playing this close corner so patiently. But Iron just looking to tick down the clock, see if he can make this one as expensive as possible. At some point, Skyzo has to swing, you feel like, and he does. And he delivers the Iron right to Iron in that case. And Gank Disciples are on the board.
No charges.
Really like what Gank Disciples did there. And again, Zala's Minions has a great read on the round, and you see their importance being put onto mid, right? As soon as they figure out, hey, Gank Disciples want to put some men on mid, they immediately rotate all of their players there to kind of deal with it. But the shots go Gank Disciples' way as they are aware of what can happen and what will most likely happen in the coming seconds after that early kind of bout. And again, the shots go their way, but now Zala's Minions has the guns. We'll see how this rifle round goes.
James has been stifled so aggressively on these holds. He's been forced off of the line. And for a Sentinel, you've got to feel like that's an awful place to be. But when you play against these double movement duelists, it's so difficult when you have these static defenses. He's going to be spotted out on that hop, but Butterfly Ring's going to take down Skyzo, and the headshot and the trade of positions is going to come through. Relida taking down James. And the double movement duelists, they're able to get out of their space after they take the initial contact. Vivis is going to be seized up by that fade, and he's going to get pre-fired through the smoke here. Relida not able to take down Hippo. The sidesteps coming through in a big way, and Hippo, even saturated, he manages to take a couple of kills down with him. We're into a 3-on-3 now. Bay Popper takes down Dark Lord. Things are getting a little bit messy here. Johnson finds the first, but Vivis with the super wide swing. He finds a double kill there to take down Johnson and Butterfly Rings one more time. We're all tied up at 2 apiece. This is different from map number 1.
Yeah, so Zala's Minions actually, again, just really good calling. They put a lot of emphasis on A, and you see James get almost like just confused as to what's happening as the waylay comes through, but Relida quick on the swing there, able to take him out. But I think they're just getting a little too overeager. You already got the opening kill on A. You could just retreat and play your man advantage that you just built. You have so much space on the map. Some really great shots there coming from the side of Hippo. Even through the saturate, wins them the round single-handedly, though.
And we were talking about Vivis, a former champion in his own right. I'll hold that thought as here comes the Waylay Ultimate. Relida swinging straight down Broadway. Bay Popper greets him with a headshot. He's got another one onto Iron. Can he get a third? Yes, he does. Dark Lord's classic, unable to make it a classic in this case. Gank Disciple is going to move their way up onto the B site. There's only one player left. Will they clear out all their angles? Clove Smoke's going to give Clove the opportunity. Johnson playing so patiently. He finds the first one with that Sheriff. Gets the overheal. Swings out wide, but Skyzo has it contained. Gank Disciples decisive on these hits. Even those on those minions have a clear idea of what they want to do. This time, Gank Disciples, the individuals are coming to play.
Yeah, and almost a little bit telegraphed there from Zaldo's Minions. They have one ult, and Gank Disciples has a good read as to how they want to play. Butterfly Wings probably going to walk into the line of sight of James, though.
And if James could actually get going, the Sentinel was struggling a little bit on map number 1. He continues his struggle here, but Hippo is in fine form. There are 3 rounds in a row for Gank Disciples. Hippo looking to top the board right now. And they're actually in a much better situation than they were in map number 1. They're in fine form. Their players are hitting shots. You have Hippo with the 3-piece. You have Vivis picking up a pair down mid. Skyzo finally getting activated. Bay Popper getting a couple of kills here. It's been all Zeonlo's minions up until right now. And you have to feel like if Gank Disciples can start having some shots go in their favor, we might have a competitive affair here.
Yeah, and Gank Disciples really well aware of how Zeonlo's Minions likes to play defense, right? They like to be aggressive. They like to just play with the ultimates they have and try to string together rounds. Again, Relida just possibly going to swing into 5. And Skyzo will find the opening kill.
Excellent work. And you were talking about in pre-show, I know you were mentioning getting the op in the hands of Skyzo early and often. I know that's something that's been a very pronounced effort here, a concerted effort by Gank Disciples. Iron going to be taking this first angle. Skyzo might not be ready for how close he is, but he actually swings super wide, gives the opportunity over to Skyzo. This crossfire is good, and mid's going to be demolished there. James continuing to struggle here. This jump spot going to be excellent by Vivis, but he's going to be scanned out. Iron is through the box, and the wall bangs come through. Johnson's going to go above and beyond. He's going to take down Hippo and Vivis somehow before finally being laid to rest. This Clove ultimate's going to be burned out. You have to feel like Skyzo swinging out wide to be able to find that one. Bay Popper padding the stats a little bit more, taking down Dark Lord. And so now it's all up to Butterfly Wings. Has the pre-aim onto Bay Popper, and he can't quite hit Skyzo. A 4K there for the Sentinel. He's locking it down here for Gank Disciples.
Yeah, and both Skyzo and Bay Popper showing up now in a kind of a do-or-die situation, and that's exactly what you want to see, right? Butterfly Wings almost taking the round there. As if he can find that second shot, it will just go his way. But Gank Disciples, again, playing really slow, kind of addressing what Zeonlo's minions wants to do. Again, Skyzo with this operator, very deadly if they decide to keep pushing into him. But we'll see if they have the good read here. The smoke on the bottom of mid will be very disruptive for Skyzo. He'll have to be forced to go to the back of mid and jump over it in order to get any sightline on it.
But this is a different defensive setup here for Zeonlo's minions, and it might allow James the opportunity to work up to a different position here. Skyzo has no idea what waits for him on the other side. Iron finds the first one onto James, so a different position but the same result. Skyzo punctures him with that headshot though. And so we're into the 4-on-4, and that dash up probably signals you have a player nice and close. The defense is rotated over fully towards mid, but all 8 players in limbo right now. Skyzo trying to peer over the smoke, see if he can find an angle, but it looks like he's done enough right now. Unless he finds that jump spot there onto Johnson, not going to hit either of those 2 shots. Spotted him crossing into that corner. Skyzo trying to be diligent. Clear out all of those angles. The jump spot from top mid is nice from Zeonlo's minions, giving them an opportunity to work around the potential smoke coming through. But if Gank Disciples come knocking on A, it's just Iron to receive. Patience now. You move into this 3-on-1, moving up to this elbow angle.
But they're doing a good job avoiding it. We'll see if Iron takes the timing, though, to kind of figure out what's happening here. But Relida's already on the case. He's going to be in back sight, so Iron might find a timing through elbow here.
30 seconds
That's
left.
good information gathered by that haunt, even if it's broken. And that defensive smoke is going to allow Gank Disciples plenty of room to work with. They seem to have knowledge of the elbow player, but no one's in an active angle to actually hold it. You still see Skyzo holding that flank. Bibis is going to have to tuck back into this corner here, giving himself the smoke, and he's going to pull out those knives, see if he can find something more off the back end of this. Relida's going to be pinned in, but he finds one anyway in trade. Hippo's going to clothesline Iron through the middle of that smoke, and these shots are landing for Gank Disciples. All 4 of their players managed to find theirs in the post plant, and they're up to 5-2 now here on Zeonlo's Minions map pick.
Yeah, you see the Zeonlo pings coming through there in the post round as, again, they're just kind of shocked almost that they didn't want to contact through elbow there, but it's a really good call. Again, Iron's been playing with the Bucky, and since that early Bucky kill came through, they know he's most likely elbow sitting there with a Bucky, and so they end up just going through main, contacting all the way to site, and they're able to find the spike plant, avoiding the shotguns that could be so devastating for them, and that's what ends up winning them the round there. So again, really good calling from Gank Disciples, and you want to see more from it, especially if they're not going to be playing through mid.
And this time around, opting to be a little bit more slower still, a little more methodical, Jake. You talked about the adjustment that you needed to see from them. Go back to what works for you. Well, what works for them? Finding opening kills, trading numbers, right? Getting the defense unbalanced, and then regrouping into a hit that you're comfortable with. Skyzo going to be posted up on this angle. Will he be ready for Relida? The warning shots there ring out right past his ear, but it's going to allow him the opportunity to get perched up on a different line this time. And now the chamber can be so aggressive that he's positioned here. Even though it's an operator, these lines are going to be devastating for Zeonlo's minions unless they can anticipate the angle he's gotten to.
Yeah, but I'm almost a little bit surprised as to what the Zeonlo's minions call here. As you see the Waylay rotating through spawn onto B, and I can't help but wonder why this is. Again, Marlena has a good line here, but this is such a bad advantage for Gank Disciples if they go for this.
I feel like Gank Disciples probably being spotted out. Baypopper finds one through the smoke, and Hippo takes down Relida somehow as well, so the hold completely dismantled for a Gank Disciples flooding their way onto site. As Baypopper gets the spike down, we're going to see the discipline that we praised from Zeonlo's. We're going to see it the other direction by Gank Disciples. All 5 players in the right spots. Hippo finding the early information. He's ready for the kill onto Johnson. The swing out from Baypopper is phenomenal, and he finds another pair of kills there. A flawless round from Gank Disciples. You could not have seen this coming after that map 1 performance, but they bounced back in a big way so far on map 2.
I do want to say, though, real quick, that this is almost reminiscent of map 1, right? Gank Disciples gets off to a very strong start, but Zeonlo's minions makes the adjustments and kind of figures out how they want to play. Albeit, this is happening a lot later in the first half, but again, I wouldn't put it past Zeonlo's minions, but again, Gank Disciples putting so much emphasis on A, now they're going to go B and probably do a fast take here as they played so slow in these previous rounds, Zeonlo's minions feeling the pressure of it, but now we're probably just going to see them walk up behind this dog and just side take on top of Butterfly Wings.
But it has been a different look here from Gank Disciples, so maybe that's what froze them in that first play. They weren't hitting towards the site with James. Bibis is going to move that crosshair. Butterfly Ring's not ready for that first one, and Johnson's going to be taken down by Skyzo. Another site breach here by Gank Disciples. Butterfly Ring's at this advanced angle. The Fade Prowler is going to cue Bibis into the angle, and he's good for it anyway. He clears that test with ease. Iron's going to be moving up mid, but this Zeonlo's minions retake is super scattered. Yes, you're able to get that fast rotation through mid, but the entirety of CT has been occupied here by Gank Disciples. You swing into this angle, Relita's going to be met with 3 pre-firing members, and this mid play coming through. The dash coming through, actually. Iron's going to be traded back. Skyzo and Bibis finding a pair, but Dark Lord, his Deagle rings out, but so does Bibis' Shorty. A 3-piece there for the duelist for Gank Disciples. 7 rounds now for them on this attack half.
And there you see Gank Disciples kind of cash in on the kind of slow play that, the cost of the slow play that they've really been building up, right? You see all these patient rounds have been kind of almost queuing up into this round that we just saw, where they're able to kind of quickly play on the B. So all those minions thinks they have the read that they're going to go against low A with the op, but again, just Gank Disciples put the pedal to the metal onto B, and they're able to secure another round, pushing into CT to really stop any push from Relita coming through.
You want to play? Let's play.
And this time, Gank Disciples feigning like they have the one lurker here. It's usually been James, but this time the Vice Flash has not been invested. Bibis is going to be the first one to clear this line. The off's going to ring out from Skyzo. The first shot comes through from Bibis, but Iron's going to find a pair of them. Steel Garden not coming through in time, so Iron is actually going to have the rifle available here. If he takes a timing here on the edge of the smoke, it feels like Skyzo saw the gap, but the damage goes both ways in this case. Iron not able to find anything more. Device Thorns going to be destroyed before he can actually get it. Baypopper's going to destroy Iron though, and he's going to double up on Johnson. Butterfly rings with a double kill off of that collat, and so the time is running out for Baypopper. He has to find this kill, and Butterfly Rings knows he's done enough. He just has to run off the time. So Gank Disciple is going to be held successfully there by Zeonlo's minions. A 3rd round picked up from them to finally stop the streak.
And this is a nice double hold from all those minions. It really punishes the kind of thought process, right? We're gonna slow walk as much as we can. They don't really have a great flash, as it's only this the Vice Flash that they could do with. So there's not really a good way of pushing these players off off that A main line. And you see all those minions take advantage of that. Now again, with the Waylay ult, we'll see how they try to play it. But with these ults online, I feel like you just want to play a retake almost, right? Give them the site, and we have such good ultimates where we can now kind of flood the site off of them, and we'll see how passive a line they want to play. We see Johnson and the Waylay kind of queuing up for mid here, but there's not going to be any early aggression outside of this A main push.
Now the hits have been more explosive. Finally, you can get Skyzo up onto angles that he's more comfortable with and happier to take off of just the utility from the Fade. Using just one Prowler to get your player up in a position has to feel pretty good. James is going to throw this flash here, and Skyzo is going to take Butterfly Rings out of this round again. So the opposite number being taken down here for ZM. The swing comes through the smoke, and Baypopper takes down Iron as well. The rest of Gank Disciples moving into this 5-on-3 here. You have so much room to work with, and James spotted out the advance push from Relita, so they reset towards this B site as Skyzo continues to hold the same line he's been on the entire round. The call seems to be coming through towards the B site here, and it will end in a B hit.
Yeah, but Zeonlo's minions is kind of on top of this. You see Relita kind of picking up mid, and they're just going to almost hold mid in case. They're a little bit skeptical of A, but I do think that it's going to be B. But again, Gank Disciples.
Watch out for Johnson here. He does take down the first one onto Bibis. Even though he was seized, he managed to find one, and this is starting to get messy here. Skyzo's cleaning things up, though. The janitor looking excellent so far. He's got the off in hand. He knows the information. Dark Lord swings straight into the angle, though, and he's able to clean house himself. Hippo going to be spotted out here, but he's actually going to dodge that Nightfall. Baypopper going to stall for information. Make him think maybe there's only one player in that corner. The free fire is going to bait him into the corner, and Hippo's good for the headshot right there. The 8th round for Gank Disciples. Things started getting a little bit messy. Dark Lord gave Zeonlo's minions some hope, but Gank Disciples were able to extinguish it that round.
Yeah, and this is, again, really well done for Gank Disciples. They get their opening kills, but don't immediately act off of it. And yes, it's well done from Zeonlo's minions, right? You see Relita immediately proc the wall as soon as there's some mid aggression, right? Almost like the give and take, right? We gave up mid, but now we're going to take A main back. And again, it's a good idea, but again, if you're losing too early, even if the trades on the site go your way, you're at a man disadvantage, so you have to find something in positive, and that's what Gank Disciples have been doing really well this entire map.
This is a rough look for Zeonlo's minions, right? After being so dominant in map number 1, James finally gets on the board there. He's able to take down Iron, and Relita's going to hurry to make a match out of it. He's unable to make it around, though. Johnson's going to swing out off this Clover as he has to actually find something. Butterfly rings in support, but Skyzo is ringing out early and often with this operator. Hippo swings back out into the open. It's a 3-on-1. Dark Lord, what can you do? He finds a pair of them with the Guardian. Is he ready for Bibis? This last player remaining, spotted out by the Haunt. The pre-fire not coming through, but he was seized. He swings out. Bibis, the shots are going every direction, and Bibis is able to close that one out. Dark Lord gave them everything they could handle, but he wasn't able to close out the round. That's so brutal for Zeonlo's minions, but it is deliverance for Gank Disciples. 9-3 half after you just got obliterated on your map pick. This has to feel like the momentum swing they need.
And again, it just feels like not Gank Disciples. All those minions are kind of running their head into a wall, and it just feels like almost very different from the team we saw in the first map, right? Their defensive side was very poised, very kind of slow and almost responsive, and now they're just being very proactive, but they're getting slammed on every single time they try to do so. And again, I talk so much about being very proactive on defense, but when you're doing so into double sentinel, it feels almost a little bit weird, where it feels like you don't want to do it, but they're just doing it anyways, and it's not working out for them. But now on the attack side, they're gonna try to punish this double sentinel kind of copy.
They're moving up so aggressively. That Vice Wall is going to come through, as does the Waylay Blink. But it's just James here on this first angle, and his struggles are going to continue. Bay Popper unable to find the first kill, and he's going to be stunned off the line in CT. Butterfly Rings takes down Bibis as well. So finally, Zeonlo's minions with a little bit of positive momentum. They're going to move their way up onto the site. Iron with the reposition back into Elbow. They've got a double hold there, and Hippo's being queued in. Dark Lord's good for it, so he was unable to close out the previous round, but he's able to close out this one. A double kill for Relita, and so right back from a very, very difficult round, the precision comes back for Zeonlo's minions. They're up to 4.
And this is, again, what Zeonlo's minions wants to do. We saw them on the attack half last map, right? And you just see them explode. You just see them go at it as fast as they can, like behind the neon, and it works out really well for them. So it's going to be up to Gank Disciples to really make the adjustment here. This chamber in Skyzo has been posted B every single round, and the chamber has been B for both teams every single round. I want to see them put more attention onto this mid so he's able to rotate a little bit quicker. You saw him last round go through spawn, and it's just too slow against this comp.
And I'm very surprised to see Gank Disciples put all of their players out. The first shot misses by Skyzo. Unfortunate, but he's able to blink out to safety. It's an interesting tactical decision from Gank Disciples to put all of your players onto the site that your Vice is holding of all champions or of all agents. It feels like you would want to let that one isolate a little bit more because it has the ability to stall so comfortably. But Zeonlo's minions, even though they did force Skyzo off that angle, they're wary of a potential second player. Headhunter not finding any more value here, but James is in position. They have both Sentinels over on B. If James overpeaks into this angle, things are going to get messy. The overtake can come through on B instantly. Take a look at the mid play. We've got 3 Gank Disciples players just waiting to see if they can find the timing onto Iron. They had the opportunity there while his back was turned, but the split has come through. So it's a 5-on-2 here as we look towards B site. Gank Disciples, they're just waiting for the cooldowns for Zeonlo's minions before they look to overrun this site. They're all poised to take their positions here. Skyzo just holding a close angle, but the rest of Zeonlo's minions being patient, allowing the player to work all the way up CT, and Iron finds the opener. The blink up into heaven, and the saturate is going to slow Skyzo enough to find that no-scope kill and make this a no-show round for Gank Disciples. This is a very difficult position. Iron finds the 30, blinks straight back. Butterfly Ring struggling a little bit more. Bay Popper contains that one. But Iron, he's on for the ace potentially. He's looking to swing straight out of the smoke. Tries for the no-scope again, but Johnson's got him covered. A quadra kill for Iron once again against the anti-eco. Doesn't diminish the fact that he still had to make his way all the way down mid unattended. And Zeonlo's minions grabbing a couple more.
Yeah, and this is nicely called for both teams, right? Zeonlo's minions don't want to just take into a stack, right? And yes, they saw the chamber, but again, they're kind of almost paranoid that there's a potential just stacks hiding somewhere on the site. So they wait for Iron to kind of clear out mid and work up slowly and find the opening kill. And as soon as that opening kill comes through, they feel confident in trading down in numbers. So they just go ahead and site take. And they have a good read on the round in terms of, okay, if there's a sentinel here, most likely it's not a stack. And Gank Disciples, again, just stacking because it's a light buy. But again, now we see the fast floods coming through mid.
And Skyzo's playing this close corner. He will be scanned by that Haunt, which is going to force him out. And Iron is taking down Baypopper. It's one of the heavy hitters for Gank Disciples taken out of this round. Relita's going to make his way back off of B site, so the rotation has been called back. You see Bibis moving in a hurry here. He gets taken down by Johnson on that cross, so the Outlaws paying value or paying dividends in round number 3 as well. Johnson's going to be spotted out by Hippo. Nice spray down is going to keep that one contained, and James is on site. If he could redeem himself here and make up for some of his struggles on map 1 and map 2, no, he gets taken down by Dark Lord on the initial clear. Skyzo in the open. He's going to be sprayed down on his shoulder. Hippo 1 HP behind him. He jukes straight into the headshot here. Zeonlo's minions picking up all the momentum on their attack side. They are running over Gank Disciples now, literally, with that run and gun over Hippo. And now they've got 3 in a row.
So again, I want to call out how important it is to be on mid. You see, as soon as Gank Disciples rotates to B, assuming a fast flood, there's 2 players posted mid, and they're able to take the space that's now empty after Gank Disciples rotated off of it. So now if you're going to rotate back through it, you have to rotate into the sightlines of now Zeonlo's minions. So I want to see Gank Disciples put maybe even the chamber mid. Make sure that you can fast rotate until the spike is planted. Then you now can rotate safely. But until then, it's a stack on A again on this light buy.
Gank Disciples had everything to play with that round. They had the weapons, they had the rifles, they had players in the positions they needed to be, but the over-rotations coming through because of the lack of information they have. This defensive setup is predicated so heavily on finding these opening kills, and Bibis is going to find that for Gank Disciples. He's going to run off after being scared off by that relay bolt, but the trades are excellent from Gank Disciples. A little bit more damage coming through on Bibis, but somehow he emerges unscathed. Baypopper able to pick up that rifle, Bibis able to dash right back. The three-player hit. Johnson finds the first one onto James. He continues to struggle here on this defensive half. The smoke's going to fade. It's going to leave Johnson out in the open. The shots are going to go his way, though. Baypopper's able to find the first and the second. Excellent transfer. Is he ready for Dark Lord? The tap's coming through. He isn't able to stabilize, and Skyzo is baited into the peak a little bit late, so the 1-on-2 goes Zeonlo's minions' way. That was a round Gank Disciples needed if they wanted to close out this game.
Yeah, and perhaps Zeonlo's minions weren't expecting another stack coming through on the side, but it works out really well for Gank Disciples. Unfortunately, unable to kind of close out that round there in a 1-on-2 situation. But I want to, again, call out how important it is for mid to be a safe place to rotate through. If Skyzo doesn't have to rotate all the way through spawn, perhaps he's there in time to trade out Baypopper in time. But since it's so long to rotate, he's just not, and Dark Lord's able to effectively find 2-1s.
And if Baypopper was able to tuck into that close corner, maybe, just maybe, Skyzo will find them another opener. Maybe he could have given them the trade previously, but Baypopper's in position. He finds the first. Hippo's going to chime in as well. So this hold looking real healthy from Gank Disciples. And right as Zeonlo's minions went on a run and they seemed unstoppable, the op rings out on A site, on B site, and finally, putting Skyzo here every single round is rewarded. He's not going to hit the second one, however. Dark Lord, an excellent drive-by. Dark Lord and Johnson needing a 2-on-4 to convert this one, put them up to 8. They clear the close corner, knows that there's somebody close on the right-hand side, but the pre-fire coming through on right should make it, so he shouldn't be able to swing out that wide. He gets taken down. Hippo has him covered, but the swing out into the open is going to be well contained by Hippo. A nice little tap through coming through from him, but now it's a shooting range for Dark Lord. 2 players reloading on the close angle. 3 bullets, the difference. He's going to swing out, and he's going to be taken down by Bibis. So even though Dark Lord was able to farm another 3, Gank Disciples finally get their 10.
Huge round, but they need to start stringing together some momentum. They need to close out these last 3 rounds, and this is where you need to really bunker down and figure out how Zeonlo's has been attacking you, right? And we see some nice big mid hold here, and so you are able to rotate through it as Bibis has put some attention to it, and that's exactly what you want to see. Austin finding the Skyzo finding the opening kill, that's huge, but it's not going to be enough. But we see them changing sites. We see some kind of almost adaptation here as the Vice is now on B, and it's going to be right in time.
Look at this dash through. Look how aggressively Iron's getting up on this angle. It's going to force Bibis off of his preferred sight line, and it's going to pin the player into the corner. It's Hippo. But they've let him go past. He's triggered discipline demand, and Bibis and Hippo are combining for all of the kills necessary. A flawless round by Gank Disciples. Zeonlo's minions up the tempo, and Gank Disciples said, "That's not mine. Give me my 11."
Yeah, this is a great called round from Gank Disciples, understanding that all those minions want to change it up and probably go A here. So mid has been largely kind of left unmanned, and neither team has really ventured there. We'll see if that's kind of a change one of these teams wants to make. But so far, so well done by Gank Disciples, now with 3 ults to close out 2 rounds.
And we were talking about players who need to make a bigger impact this round. Well, Skyzo has gotten, or sorry, this map. Skyzo has gotten going. Bay Popper is up to 18. Hippo up to 18. Vivis, after struggling mightily in the first map, he's at top of the table. Irons into this close angle here. If James can actually clear him, it would be huge for Gank Disciples, and he finally does. That's the second kill of the map for him. He gets run down by Butterfly Rings, but he gets a little bit more damage down in exchange. Vivis finds another one, as does Dark Void, but Hippo's going to be caught in the open with that Prowler sticking out. So now it's up to a 2-on-2, and Bay Popper is on the Clove Res. He needs to find the timing. He needs to work his way around the map, otherwise he's just going to burn out and leave it all up to Skyzo, who has to work back in here with this operator. He's peering through the scope, trying to figure out where the remaining minions could have scurried off to.
There is time for a rotate, though. We'll see if they try to go for it, but we see them kind of just re-clearing A main here, and they're most likely just going to play avoiding the CT line, and it's a really well-called round from all those minions. As soon as the spike goes down, though, we'll see if Skyzo tries to get a gun to go for it.
You got to figure both of these two teams want to stay on the site where the smokes can actually help them. Both Cloves going down in the round, and Bay Popper chose his death position so that he's able to hit the entirety of the site, no matter where he ends up. Smoke's going to fade. Maybe they think he could have snuck into elbow here, but the double up on site should be able to close things out. Skyzo unable to hit the first. He switches to the Headhunter, not able to hit any shots with it. He's going to swing out wider. He finds Dark Lord. He isolates the one-on-one onto Butterfly Rings. Does he know that he's holding close corner? He swings out wide, and Butterfly Rings is good for it. That's precision gunplay right there, daring to challenge the op with your rifle. That's the 8th round for Zeonlo's minions. That is heartbreaking for Gank Disciples after the initial hold that they had.
And a timeout coming through here, kind of just to maybe shore up how they want to close out this map. Again, every time Gank Disciples takes one, it feels like Zeonlo's takes 2 back. And this back and forth match has been absolutely exciting to watch. But again, I just want to call out again, Skyzo is forced to rotate through spawn despite Gank Disciples starting mid this round. You had Bay Popper and Hippo, as well as Bibis on this mid line. James was the only player playing elbow, but I keep calling Austin. Skyzo still decides to rotate through spawn. Again, it feels like when you have this mid pressure, you should be rotating with your team through mid and really being a little bit quicker. We see all those minions calling perhaps a B split through mid as the pings go through there, and we'll see if that's how they want to address this first round off a timeout.
The timeout is actually going for Gank Disciples' side in this case. So Bivis at the top of the table, I was talking about him ending the previous match, I believe, or the previous map. I believe he ended with 7 or 8. Well, he's doubled that and then some. Bivis has been a huge reason that Gank Disciples are looking so good this map, even as they've struggled a little bit more on the defense side. We saw Zeonlo's minions able to overrun them in the previous map. But this time around, Gank Disciples, they've actually got weapons still. They have the economy to be able to buy these rifles round after round. If they get one more here, Zeonlo's minions, with this full buy, the investment of this aggressive op, they're going to be in dire straits. And Iron's got to find something here off this jump spot. Hippo, he does actually spot him on that jump up, but he isn't able to find the kill. And Vivis is going for a bit of a mid-explorer this time around. This is a really different look from Gank Disciples. He's just occupying the space. And James just playing that angle up on A, waiting for them to hit the shear. They've brought 3 players over towards A, and Gank Disciples have all the information on B. Skyzo on that aggressive line again. They know exactly where Zeonlo's minions can be. They've got 4 players over towards this side of the map. We'll see who makes the mistake first. Iron's going to be dogged off of the line, but do they know? Do Gank Disciples know what weapon is waiting for them on the opposite side? He's going to move up and trip that shear, but he's got the blink back because he's waylay. And now Gank Disciples waiting patiently for the second hit to come through. That smoke is going to buy Hippo enough space to rotate over, but we're still waiting in anticipation for the first move to be made.
Yeah, but it has to come through soon. Their time is running low, and you don't want to have to deal with potentially more utility on this site. So it's going to come down to all those minions. They're just going to have to pick a time in this next 10 seconds to really go for it, and here he goes.
They're picking it right here and right now, and Bay Popper's going to find the timing, perhaps. He did swing out of that smoke. Relighter finds the first one onto James, and Hippo's being run down by this overdrive. Bay Popper's good for 1 still, somehow. Gets the overheal, swings into the angle, isn't able to find it, and Butterfly Rings gets the collateral onto Bivis. It forces Skyzo into another retake with the off. He's been so good when he's able to hold these static angles, but in these rounds where you have to actually go out of your way to clear all these angles, Butterfly Rings has been a little bit better for it. Another round for Zeonlo's minions, that time out not working for Gank Disciples.
Yeah, but again, it's just they address a problem, which is yes, we don't have mid. Again, Austin or Skyzo choosing to rotate through spawn again, despite them being so pushed up down mid. It just feels so almost like miscommunicated. Like we have this mid pressure, we should be rotating through mid,
That's a good
but
spot.
Zeonlo's minions haven't been really working mid at all. So when you push down mid as the defensive comp, if there's no one there, you're kind of just being really disconnected from the rest of your team, which is now on site, and they're just gonna be 5-on-2.
Impressive that you're remaining so impartial, Jake, while being on the first name basis with one of the players. I'd really like to hear that one. Skyzo is going to be taking a different angle this time around, and if Relida peeks into this a little bit slower than usual, he will be met with that off shot. He's unable to hit it, and he blinks out so quickly. That is the different look. That's unfortunate for Gank Disciples, but they know on those minions that Skyzo has been the solo player in these 4-1 setups. If they hurried up, they might have been able to catch them pre-rotation, but James has thrown the stall utility and moved over onto the A site. Zeonlo's minions have proven very proficient in taking the opening contact, taking the opening space. Skyzo is going to be walled off this line. Relida's up close and personal. Skyzo gets the first one with a little bit of help from Connector, but he's unable to get the second. And now the rest of the flood comes through. Hippo is going to be taken down as Dark Lord and Butterfly Rings combining for a pair of kills. Hippo has to swing all the way around, and he's unable to get it done. So in a hurry, Zeonlo's minions storm the site. And Gank Disciples left with just Babe Hopper in a 1-on-3. He would need something unbelievable. Butterfly Rings has been so good for it. This map, actually, this second half, he's been so clutch in closing out these rounds. Babe Hopper is going to swing straight into the angle. He's not going to be ready for the first one from Butterfly Rings, but he's ready. He's thinking about a second angle from elbow. The shots go every which way. The jump spot, not going to find anything. Stomping all the way up on site. He gets past Iron's crosshair, but he swings into the double hold from Butterfly Rings and Dark Lord, and they're able to close them out. We are 1 round away now from 3-9 down. Zeonlo's minions have brought this one back on their attack side, and they are in business so far.
Yeah, and I want to call attention to all those smokes there. You see them smoke off the mid connector space as well as elbow, and the neon wall is able to divide the fight so effectively. Skyzo is kind of almost forced to get his one, but he's unable to get out of the situation as he's just kind of left in the open there. And again, it's just Gank Disciples have the mid space, but their players aren't rotating through it, and it's just too slow, right? Babe Hopper, it feels like the fight's already over. He's forced to rotate through spawn there at the end and unable to help his team really effectively.
Well, at some point, you gotta feel like one of these mid players will be punished, and this time they're just waiting on the edges of the smoke for each other. Bibis has a ton of mid information this time, and that jump spot from Hippo is going to draw much needed attention away from him. It is going to allow Bibis to find that opener, but Johnson with the trade right through that smoke, and Iron's going to take his spot right there. A 4-on-4 situation. Bibis had done a lot to get the first one, but he's unable to get to safety. The jet dash, not far enough to get him out of dodge. But they do have a 3-player setup here, Gank Disciples do, as they get ready to receive this B hit here, Jake. How would you go about taking this?
I mean, you could just straight up go onto it. You're going to probably want to proc the wall first before you make any moves. But if both these duelists want to just go quick, they definitely can. Skyzo, again, really disconnected from his team, and that's going to matter here as it's 4-on-3.
The Steel Garden could be huge from James, but he goes down before it can pop, and Johnson takes down Hippo. This hold was demolished. Babe Hopper just playing on site, but he's playing so patiently. He finds the first one, he creeps out, but he's unable to take down Iron. Felt like maybe he could have played the trigger discipline a little bit longer, but he didn't know the positions that everyone can hold. They've hit away from Skyzo. They've forced him into these 1vx retakes so frequently, and now they've set up the crossfire. It should be impossible for Skyzo to break the crosshairs of these two players. Johnson going to be taken down, and Relida is going to swing into the open with the shorty. We are all tied up here, 11-11. Zeonlo's minions making that wish. It was granted. We are all tied up. 2 rounds are all that separate Zeonlo's minions and going on to land finals right here, right now.
But on the same side, it is actually the same for Gank Disciples. You are at 11 all. So again, Gank Disciples need to figure out how they want to string together these last 2 rounds. But again, it just feels very almost bleak for them. There's no ultimates online, and there's not even an ultimate very close. The closest is Babe Hopper in. He needs to get 2 though, and they're not fighting for ult orbs. So while they are playing very disconnected from each other, again, it almost feels like Zeonlo's minions are doing the right thing right here, right? They're just playing very slow, waiting for anything Gank Disciples tries to throw at them. as they're pushing up B here. The spike is uncommitted, so Relida on a great line here to kind of pick off anyone who tries to go for information.
This is a scary line to hold. You do have to consider a number of different angles, and Relida going to think a little bit better of it. You don't want to get caught unawares by a heaven swing here. Skyzo has been good in the opening duels when they've hit towards him, but they don't know who the player is. Relida finds the first one onto Bay Popper. That's the smokes down, unfortunately for Gank Disciples. Zeonlo's minions probably just going to work their way across the map. They've got 2 players to contend with on the A site, but like you said, Jake, earlier, the spike still not committed. They haven't tripped out the wall, and the Prowlers have both been used by Dark Lord. Skyzo creeping out onto this early line might be able to find Butterfly Rings. He needs the shot. He's unable to hit it. That jiggle coming through, and the sound of the op means that it's probably just Skyzo. They're going to make their way over towards A site, and unfortunately the rotation by Hippo went over towards B, so Skyzo is going to be stuck out in the open. The trademark going to detect one player up mid. It does allow him to get the first player on main. Skyzo needs more, and he can't find it. Relita's able to close that one out, and that could be the game. Bibis is going to swing through. He finds the first one, but Relita's on for the ace after another pair of headshots here. Swinging out through the smoke is Johnson. Queuing up the rest of the play here from James. He would need a 1-on-4 clutch. He gets the second one onto Relita, who was looking for that ace, but now here comes the crossfire. When will the swing come through? They both swing at the same time, and they find James with his melee out. Zeonlo's minions from 3-9 down to 12-11 up. They go on match point. They're on series points, land clinching point here for the minions.
And it just feels like a really odd read from Gank Disciples there. Bay Popper goes down first, but they choose to stack the site where Zeonlo's minions, again, feel like they have the biggest advantage going A. Like, yes, they have to deal with Skyzo potentially popped on a line, but again, they've done a really good job every single time at just getting Skyzo to have to shoot a shot and maybe TV back. So I don't feel like Zeonlo's minions are really afraid of the op. Again, here it is.
Overtime hangs in the balance, and Bay Popper goes down early. James goes down as well. This feels like it should be it. The minions are storming their way onto the B site. It's all up to the final 2 Gank Disciples, Bibis and Skyzo. If you want to defend your title, you need a 1-on-5 here, man. And it feels like Relita, with that overdrive, he's done enough. 13-11, you can't feed on these minions. The hunt is on for that Throwdown trophy as they move on to finals.
Yeah, despite going down 9-3 in that first half, which looked really rough for them, they're able to figure out the double sentinel defense, which again should be their stronger side, but it proves not to be very effective when you're willing to just kind of sit there and wait, let the defense kind of have to figure out where you're coming from before just 5-up and trading out numbers. And so many of those rounds have just been due to the Zeonlo's speed at which they're willing to play, the pace of the Neon and the Waylay rushing on this site past the line of the op, past the wall, and it's just too much for Gank Disciples to deal with.
And commiserations to them, as we have given to every other team knocked out so far. But Zeonlo's minions, victorious 2-0 over Gank Disciples, last year's defending champions, mean that we will have a new champ this time around at Moogie's VALORANT Throwdown 2026. This time at the TLC in Davis, we are going to see teams that we have never seen before as the minions take on Super Senior. Jake, I mean, we've seen both of these semifinals here. We just saw the performance that Zeonlo's minions go on. Is it fair to say that these guys are probably the finals going into, the favorites going into the finals?
I think it is very, very, I think it's actually just the correct thing to say, right? If you just looked at both of these 2 matches that we've had this week, Zeonlo's have just been very clean. They did have to figure out how to deal with this double sentinel comp, but no one's really running that, right? That's a very uncommon, and so now they're probably going to be against a little bit more of a standard team, and well, we saw what they did against Berkeley's team.
And things got a little bit messy for them. Like you mentioned, Gank Disciples getting off to a great start on that opening half. It felt like the momentum was shifting a little bit. Gank Disciples players were hitting, but unfortunately, the individuals from Zeonlo's minions, or unfortunately for Gank Disciples, fortunately for Zeonlo's minions, the individuals regained their map 1 form, and they stormed their way to a very, very dominant attack half of their own, overrunning the more passive, contact-heavy Gank Disciple defense. Unfortunate for Skyzo. A lot of positions that he was forced into where he had to play 1vx, like we were talking about in those retakes, but the rest of the stacks were unable to convert with all of the kills necessary, and they're going to be kicking themselves. A couple of those rounds they feel like they should have had, but props to Zeonlo's minions for playing an excellent series and moving on to LAN finals.
Yeah, and critically, it's off the back of two very stylistically different comps, right? The first match they had against Cal, they played double controller with a single jet, right? This time around, it's not even a jet, it's a single controller in the Clove, not an Omen, in the Clove, and they're playing Waylay, they're playing Waylay Neon. So you get two very different comps, two very different looks, and both very strong attack halves.
And both proving to be very effective, as Zeonlo's minions have yet to drop a map here at Moogie's Valorant Throwdown, let alone a full series. But that's it for the best of threes. That's it for match 81 of 82. The next time we see all of you fine individuals will be at LAN Finals in April on Picnic Day. We're going to be live on location, casting a full best of 5 between Zeonlo's minions and Super Senior, and I promise you, you will not want to miss it. I expect to see everyone who is here in the audience today. I hope to see every single one of you in person at UC Davis. Jake, give me your predictions right now, fresh off of this one. What are we thinking for the finals?
Right now, I might have to say maybe a 3-1 coming from the side of Zeonlo's minions. I think UG have their looks, right? We saw Mega Knight just going absolutely just destructo mode against in that previous match. But whether he does that against all those minions who have, again, just seems like they're just great shooters on every day they play, we'll see if he has the same kind of form. But again, I think while UG can maybe string together a map, I don't think it's going to be enough against all those minions.
I would have to agree, considering the form that we've seen from these two teams, but everything is different in April. Everything's different once you step on that stage and you realize you have to play in front of the audience. You've got white noise, you've got all the works acting, in your favor and also against you. The competition truly different once you make it to that final stage. But that's all for us for today. Unfortunately, Zeonlo's minions making this one real quick and sending us off the air early. The next time we see all of you will be for grand finals. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. We hope to see you all then, and we promise you, you will not want to miss it.
Next on course for the slalom is number 92.
Look at Michaela attack that run. No doubt you can do the same, Stella.
Cut your mobile bill in half and save $60 a month for your first year with Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity, imagine that.
One enemy remaining. Remaining. Last player standing. Last player standing. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Your fault.
One enemy remaining.
Face your fear. My ult is ready.
One enemy remaining.
My turn.
One enemy remaining.
Go, go, go.
One enemy remaining. Flawless. One enemy remaining.
time I don't think so. I had enough of your romance reflow. Heartbreaker with the ego. You were doing some things that could have been illegal. Makes sense that I'm nothing at all. You were pretty much evil, but I got more to say. No, I never met nobody like you. That ain't no compliment, that's the truth. You're nothing but a cold heart covered in gold. That's why I'm leaving you. Oh, looky here, I am burning again. Thought it was real, but your love, it was only pretend. Oh, looky here, I am walking away. I turn around if you beg me to stay. This time I don't think so. I had enough of your romance reflow. Heartbreaker with the ego. You were doing some things that could have been illegal. Makes sense that I'm nothing at all. You were pretty much evil, but I got more to say. No, I never met nobody like you. That ain't no compliment, that's the truth. You're nothing but a cold heart covered in gold. That's why I'm leaving you.